Coming up at 11, more COVID-19 testing is underway across the state as more cases and deaths are reported in the mountains.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. We learned today that the deaths of 2 Eastern Kentuckians are related to COVID-19. This as the testing continues to ramp up. One new location was at Knox County EMS, hosted by the Knox County Health Department. That county now has 13 cases, 3 of which are active. Health officials told WYMT's Emily Bennett testing is more important now than ever as cases continue to increase across the region.
As COVID-19 cases increase in areas around Knox County, the Knox County Health Department knew it was time to offer more testing.
We just wanted to continue to allow the public, Knox Countyans, to know that we're here for them and that we want to do the best for those folks.
The county has not seen high numbers of COVID-19 with only 13 cases.
And out of those, only 3 are active, I think.
But Knox County Public Health Director Rebecca Rains says she is seeing a decline in testing throughout the county.
It is concerning that we're not seeing the turnout for testing, not only through the drive-through setup, but also just on a daily basis. We're not seeing the volume of testing that we were even a few weeks ago.
Even at Thursday's testing, the drive-through was slow. A very different story from last month, where they tested more than 200 people in 2 days.
Wanting to enjoy, the warm weather, it's very important that people do not become complacent because we do know that this virus can spread very easily.
Rain says mass testing has its advantages, besides ease of access for the county.
It helps us to know if we're starting to see community spread of COVID-19.
Urging people to take the necessary precautions to prevent a wide spread. In Barberville, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
The Knox County Health Department has partnered with West Knox Pharmacy and Access Family Health. They offer testing every weekday from 10 until 3. Kentucky has surpassed 13,000 cases of COVID-19. That's up 234 new cases since yesterday. The state's death toll is now at least 520. The governor announced 3 new deaths today, but at least 3,500 people have recovered. Harlan and Perry counties reported their first COVID-19 related deaths today. In Perry County, health officials say a 79-year-old man died in late May that was originally considered to be recovered from the virus. In Harlan County, Judge Executive Dan Mosley said an unidentified man died last night after he was hospitalized. Tonight, we also learned that another Harlan County woman was put in the hospital after contracting the virus. Small businesses impacted by COVID-19 in southern Kentucky could soon be seeing relief. Thanks to an initiative called Pay It Forward by a company called Northern Contours, $15,000 will be split up into $2,500 payments to businesses that apply for the assistance. It could be a help to small entrepreneurs in Corbin, Williamsburg, and surrounding areas.
With the loss in business, it's affecting them very much in revenue loss, as well as trying to keep employees or cutting back 2 or 3 days a week. And so we have made this available to the community, to the businesses.
The opportunity for businesses to apply ends next Monday, the 22nd. We have a link with more on our website, WYMT.com. People from all around the region drove by the Mountain Arts Center today to lend their faces to a new project. Local photographer Malcolm Wilson invited people to show off their masks for a new photo documentary project he's working on. Show Us Your Mask is his way of putting a face to Appalachia's response to COVID-19.
We don't have a lot to dig from or remember from the last pandemic, which was really the 1918 Spanish flu. So hopefully that generations will see how we handled such a thing and how we dealt with it.
Wilson's photos will be added to the Special Collections Archives at the University of Pikeville and the University of Kentucky.
Well, we saw the soggy conditions return again today, and it was a lot more soggier today than we've seen the past couple of days. Even saw some thunderstorms roll through the mountains. As we take you up to that Moorhead camera along Interstate 64, you can see the gloomy skies over there. They saw some storms earlier, but this evening was actually nice for a lot of us. I went out for dinner, and it was pretty nice to see the blue skies. I even had to wear my sunglasses for the first time in a while. Saw a little bit of that sunshine, but you could see here on satellite and radar over the past couple of hours, we still saw the showers and a few thunderstorms earlier this evening. You see that rotating pattern. We still have that low pressure system sitting right over us. That's what has been producing the rain over the past really week or so. Temperatures right now into the low to mid 60s, so not feeling too bad out there. And really, we're only going to see temperatures drop into about the lower 60s. Few stray showers are possible throughout the early overnight hours, but I think we'll kind of dry out until we get into those early morning hours tomorrow. More rain's expected though for your Friday. Sunshine does return though heading into the weekend, and we could see a few more scattered rain chances this weekend as well. I'll have a look at your Friday and weekend forecast coming up in a little bit.
All right. Thank you, Paige. For the third straight day, hundreds of people lined up in Frankfort, desperate to get help with their unemployment claims. Nick Oliver talked to people who traveled from across Kentucky in search of answers.
I drove from Paducah, Kentucky, 4.5 hours.
For the third day, long lines could be found in Frankfort.
We're all suffering from the same thing. We're all experiencing the same pain.
Many here, like Janice Butler, making the early morning haul from Paducah, begging for help. Like past days, many had waited up to 10 hours, then told they couldn't take any more. But with some good news. This line managed to empty when officials had room for just a few more. But the tens of thousands across the state, they are still waiting.
So what about the individuals in Kentucky that's on the other side of the state that can't make it here? You know, how do they get something resolved? Because obviously if you don't show up here, you can't get nothing done.
And while many people found the answers to what they have been looking for months and months and months, other people that have come out some days, then they've been turned away because the line's too long and told to leave their phone number. They say they feel like they've been left in the dark.
I got in my car and drove 2 hours to be told the line's closed and I can't get in line.
We met Tricia Taberkey on Tuesday. The first day she was told to leave her number and someone would call her back the next day.
Again, no call, and again today, no call. I think that taking the number is just trying to give people hope to settle them down for a little bit. I don't have any confidence that I'm going to get a call back.
The governor said today they are calling many back. As for moving offices throughout the state to avoid long drives, he says that could be still over a week away.
The governor said today budget woes have contributed to the problem, mentioning during both his father's and Governor Matt Bevin's administration, the unemployment budget decreased $16 million. An argument led to a shooting in Wolfe County last night that left one man dead and another behind bars. This is Troy Dunkelberger. Police say Dunkelberger told them the victim pushed him several times and got into his face at a cabin in the Red River Gorge. Dunkelberger also claims that the victim threatened to cut him. When the victim turned to talk to Dunkelberger's sister, police say Dunkelberger shot the victim 5 to 7 times. Dunkelberger claims the victim was searching his pockets for something. Dunkelberger is charged with murder. A death investigation is underway in Clay County after a body was found inside a burning car. The coroner tells us there was a crash on Highway 149 last night. When crews arrived, the car was on fire. Crews then found a body inside. Right now, we do not know the victim's identity. We did reach out to Kentucky State Police for more information, but have not heard back yet. The shooting death of Breonna Taylor has gained national attention. She was killed by Louisville officers more than 3 months ago. Today, Attorney General Daniel Cameron says her death is still under investigation, but he is promising to find the truth. Olivia Russell explains where the investigation stands now.
It's been 3 months since the death of Breonna Taylor, and people are still demanding answers. Attorney General Daniel Cameron says he was named the special prosecutor for the case a month ago. Since then, he's been flooded with calls, emails, and letters from across the country.
We hear you, and we are working around the clock to follow the law to the truth.
But Cameron says the law is what will guide his final decision on whether or not to press charges against the 3 officers involved, not those letters.
In the role of Attorney General, I've often talked about this a lot. We have a responsibility to the facts and the law, and I'll certainly do that.
He says his commitment to getting it right is why his team is working around the clock, even conducting their own investigation in addition to the police department's investigation. Cameron says it takes time to get those details. They're learning new information every day. It's why he's not sure when that final decision will come.
I don't want to get into the specifics of any deadline, but know that we are working very diligently on this case. We are working around the clock to make sure that we can have a thorough and fair investigation.
He says his goal is to not only give answers to the concerned community, but mostly to those involved, especially the family of Breonna Taylor. In Frankfort, Olivia Russell, WKYT.
Cameron says his team is made up of prosecutors who have at least 200 years of experience collectively. Another Confederate statue came down, this time in Texas. The statue of Confederate soldier Dick Dowling was removed from a park in Houston. It came as a result of 3 years' worth of planning. The Houston mayor promised to remove it last week. The statue will be reinstalled in Houston's Museum of African American Culture, a move the museum's former chief executive officer describes as a teachable moment. Quaker Oats announced it's retiring its Aunt Jemima breakfast foods brand. The company, now owned by PepsiCo, says the name is based on a racial stereotype. The woman who helped promote the Aunt Jemima brand was a Kentucky native. Chelsea Jones met with the actress who's sharing the woman's story.
I was working for that nice Walker family.
Deborah Falk is an actress with the Kentucky Humanities Chautauqua series. She portrays Nancy Green, a Kentucky woman born into slavery.
Portraying Mrs. Nancy Green taught me how to love unconditionally.
Nancy Green worked for the Walker family and moved with them to Chicago in 1872. There she met businessman R.T. Davis. He hired her to play Aunt Jemima, a popular minstrel character, to promote his pre-mixed pancake recipe.
How ironic for her to be freed from slavery and then to get a job pretending to be a slave.
Green worked at the World Fair where she operated a pancake cooking display. She used the money she earned to help her community. More than 130 years later, Green's memory is still sitting on grocery shelves. Quaker Oats is now retiring the Aunt Jemima brand based on a racial stereotype.
I definitely support that decision for them to pull that.
Falk has performed the one-woman show for the past 3 years, inspired by Green's story.
And I raised their 2 boys, Samuel and Charles. Samuel become a doctor, a fine one too. This woman made a lot of sacrifices, and she didn't do it for herself.
Falk studied theater at UK as an undergrad. She's now back to get her PhD and wants to give back.
I'm so grateful for the sacrifices of Mrs. Nancy Green that I'm ready, willing, and able to make my own sacrifices.
Because they got raised right by me, Mrs. Nancy Green.
The companies for Cream of Wheat and Mrs. Butterworth are also looking into changing packaging for its products. Tonight, we've learned when services will be held for Carol Barr, Congressman Andy Barr's wife. Carol died unexpectedly earlier this week from a heart issue in the family's Lexington home. She was only 39 years old. Her visitation is set for Sunday from 3 till 7 at Christ Church Cathedral in Lexington. Barr's funeral service will be held at Southland Christian Church on Monday at 11. It will also be streamed online. She will be buried at the Lexington Cemetery. The family says any donations can be made to the American Heart Association. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, the unexpected animal that could lead to a new COVID-19 treatment right here in Kentucky.
And more rain's expected heading into your Friday, but will that rain continue heading into the weekend? I'll have that answer coming up.